Before football became the world's game, it was a public order problem. Kings banned it. Towns were damaged by it. People were injured playing it. And yet every attempt to kill it failed. Today, the game looks controlled. 2 teams, 1 ball, 90 minutes. But beneath those clean white lines is something much older, stranger, and more violent. Because football was not invented, it escaped. The first clue appears more than 2,000 years ago, far from England. In ancient China, people played a game called kuju, meaning kickball. Players used their feet to send a leather ball through an opening in a net. Some versions were used to train soldiers. Others became performances for the imperial court. It sounds like football, but it was not modern football. Ancient Greece had episkaros. Rome had harpastum. Some games used the hands. Others involved wrestling or barely had rules at all. There is no single unbroken line connecting one ancient game to the sport you watch today. And that is the first twist. Football does not have one ancestor, it has many. Different societies kept discovering the same irresistible idea. Divide people into 2 groups. Put one object between them. Then make both sides fight to control it. Your brain understands that story instantly. This side is yours. That side is the enemy. And the ball decides who wins. By the Middle Ages, England had turned that simple idea into chaos. Forget the stadium. Forget the referee. Forget 11 players per side. In medieval folk football, entire villages could play against each other. The goals might be church doors or landmarks miles apart. The ball could be kicked, carried, thrown, or buried inside a moving crowd. The match moved through markets, farms, rivers, and sometimes buildings. Who got injured? Almost anyone nearby. In 1314, Edward II banned football in London because of the noise and disorder caused by people fighting over large balls. Later rulers repeated similar bans, but the game kept returning. Why? Because football required almost nothing. No horse, no weapon, no expensive equipment. You only needed something that could roll and enough people willing to chase it. Authorities could ban a tournament. They could not ban the instinct behind it. Later stories claim that players sometimes kicked human skulls. That story is not solidly proven, and the real game was violent enough without it. People were hurt. Property was destroyed. The authorities were furious, but the crowd always came back. Then something strange happened. The chaos entered school. In 19th century England, elite schools played their own versions of football. Eton had one code. Rugby had another. At one school, carrying the ball was allowed. At another, it was cheating. Violent tackling could be normal in one code and forbidden in another. Every school believed its version was the correct one. That worked until former students met at university. Imagine trying to begin a match when nobody agrees on what the word football means. One player picks up the ball. Half the field shouts that he cheated. Another kicks an opponent in the leg. He insists it is completely legal. The game could not grow until the argument was settled. In 1848, students at Cambridge tried to create a common set of rules, but the decisive meeting came in London in 1863. Club representatives gathered to form the Football Association and answer one explosive question. Should players be allowed to carry the ball and kick opponents in the legs? Some wanted both. Others wanted neither. The disagreement became so deep that the game split. One branch developed into rugby. The other became association football. Even the word soccer came from association. 2 of the world's biggest sports were born from one argument in a room. But football still was not finished. The early game had no modern penalties, cards, goal nets, or today's offside law. Even match length and team size were not immediately fixed. Every controversy added another piece. Did the ball cross the line? Was that a handball? Did the defender stop a certain goal unfairly? In 1891, football introduced both the penalty kick and goal nets. The penalty itself offended some people. They believed a true gentleman would never cheat deliberately, so such a punishment should not be necessary. But football was not built for imaginary gentlemen. It was built for real humans. Real humans bend rules. So football created referees, lines, fouls, punishments. The game became civilized, not because aggression disappeared, but because aggression was trapped inside boundaries. The equipment changed too. Early balls were made from animal bladders covered in leather. Their bounce was unpredictable, and rain made them painfully heavy. Rubber made balls rounder and more reliable. Heavy work boots became lighter. Passing became faster, control became sharper, but better equipment did not make football global, trains did. The Industrial Revolution packed people into cities and connected them by railway. A club could now travel and play another club under shared rules. Leagues appeared, stadiums filled, and football became more than a game. It became a place to belong. You worked beside the same people. You lived in the same streets. You wore the same colors. You hated the same rival. Psychologist Henri Tajfel later showed how easily people form loyalty to a group, even when the group is based on something almost meaningless. Football gives that instinct everything it wants. A badge, a song, a shared enemy, a story about who you are. British sailors, teachers, railway workers, and merchants carried the game around the world. But here is the part that matters. The world did not simply copy British football, it transformed it. Brazil gave it improvisation and rhythm. Italy refined structure and defense. Argentina turned it into theater, identity, and obsession. In many countries, a British game became a way to defeat Britain and express national pride. Football conquered the world by stopping being British. FIFA was formed in 1904. The first World Cup followed in 1930 with only 13 teams. In 2026, the tournament expanded to 48. The scale changed beyond recognition. The basic story did not. One ball, two sides, an uncertain ending. And uncertainty is the secret. Goals are rare, so every one of them matters. One mistake can erase 89 minutes of control. One shot can change how an entire country remembers a year. Your brain cannot relax because the game is never fully decided until time disappears. Then the crowd begins to sing. Researchers Scott Wiltermuth and Chip Heath found that moving in synchrony can strengthen social connection. In a stadium, thousands of strangers chant, jump, and react together. For a moment, separate bodies become one. That is football's final contradiction. It divides people, and it unites them. Different languages, different countries, different lives. But when the ball moves toward goal, everyone understands the same silent question. Will it go in? Before football became the world's game, it was a public order problem. Kings banned it, schools argued over it, nations reinvented it, and billions of people made it their own. You are still looking at one ball, two goals, and 22 players. But now you know what is really moving across that field. More than 2,000 years of human conflict, identity, and belonging. Still rolling, still changing, still impossible to stop.